let's celebrate. There's a party going on right here, a celebration to last throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We're gonna celebrate your party with you. Come on now. Let's all celebrate and have a good time.
I'm on my own, broken alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost.
Join us in the heart of personal transformation with Level Up Circle TV, your exclusive gateway to unlocking your inner potential and achieving extraordinary results. This TV show is your secret weapon for personal and professional development, packed with valuable insights, expert advice, and real-life success stories. Are you ready to take the leap and transform your life? Don't just watch, participate. Tune in, take notes, and then take action. The journey to your greatest self starts here. So, get inspired, get motivated, and get ready to level up. Join us and let's embark on this transformative adventure together. Click that remote and let's start making your dreams a reality.
Oh, I'm in mute this whole time. My sister just texted me. No one can hear you, CJ. Of course, leave it to me, right? I'm talking and talking. You guys can't read lips? Are you sure? Okay. Well, today I want to make sure that we actually know how does branding help your business. That's what I was talking about. And it's important for you to scale your business. You get to know how do you brand yourself, right? Because people are like, oh, it's just my business. If you own your own business, you are the brand. How you communicate with people, how you interact with people, and then, of course, your image, not just like your face, okay? We're talking about your logo, your topography. Look it up if you don't know what that is, because I do have international people here. Your social media, right? But I can't wait to actually delve into Tanya and Michael today to give us how these two heart-centered couple helping not only the hounds of business but people around the world so they too can help others, right? Are you guys ready for them? I had to repeat what I just said because you guys, you couldn't read lips, so I'm testing you. Mike's texting me like, "Hello? I can't hear you." I know. I was testing you, bro, if you were watching. See, I got you. I got you. All right, let's go ahead. Are you guys ready? Mike was texting me like, "I can't hear you." He's literally texting me.
I know.
Like I was asking him to see if you could read lips.
We
I
can.
agreed with everything you said.
Yeah, absolutely. We
I
didn't
did.
have a single problem understanding.
Yep.
All that passion and
Nope,
energy.
nope. Oh my God. Okay, so this is your first time on my TV. I want to know who you guys are, where you guys located, and what do you do?
Okay. Hey, I'll start. Okay. So we're located just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, about 45 minutes northeast. Actually, we grew up about 45 minutes apart our whole lives and never knew each other until about 12 years ago. But I grew up in North Georgia, in a little tiny town called Dawsonville, known for making moonshine and the start of the stock car racing industry. So there's a whole bunch of, Mike Asherbrander knows this and several other people. There's a whole bunch of moonshine stories we could share on another time. But I grew up, selling vacuum cleaners door to door. I did that for 3 years to pay my way through college. And then I got into the media world, and the convergence of those two things helped me to really understand that personal branding was really critical to growing your business. If people don't understand what it is you're trying to convey before you actually meet them, then you're leaving so much off the table and you're missing a lot of opportunities. And so when I first got into the media world, I was taken aback by the number of doors that were slammed in my face, CJ. A ton of doors slammed in my face. And these were big decision makers that were spending so much money on advertising and marketing. And yet I realized they don't view me as the true professional that I knew that I was at least trying to become, because I was really young in the business. So I knew then if I wanted to change the way I was perceived, I had to change the way I presented myself. And that years later is why Brandface came about. And at the time that Brandface was being birthed, so to speak, was actually when I met Michael.
Yeah, I grew up as an auctioneer. My professional career is in automobile auctions and equipment auctions. And the guy that taught me how to do that craft told me to get my real estate license. I can make a little extra money on the side. And that evolved into a brokerage. And now I still do auctions just for fun. But I am a full-time real estate broker with a boutique brokerage here in North Atlanta. But I have a national footprint. I've sold more residential real estate than any human on earth. Because when I took my firm, I partnered with a company out of Irvine, California, back before the mortgage debacle, what I call the mortgage debacle hit. And we went after the Bear Stearns residential portfolio to auction it off. And we auctioned off about 75% of that portfolio. So I ended up licensed in 30 states, 31 states. I've sold property in 35 states. So I've been around a minute. And but when we worked ourselves out of that job, I came back to my small town here, Jefferson, Georgia, and opened up a small brokerage with what ended up being Tanya's aunt. And she said, let's open up this brokerage. I said, if you'll help me, I'll do it. I thought we'd just have a little fun with it, goof off with it. And then she told me about 2 months later, your marketing stinks. You need my niece. And she tricked me and Tanya into talking. And so I finally talked to Tanya, and I'm gonna tell everybody this. It was very mean of me. I'm still paying for it some ways. When she called me and said, I don't know if I'm supposed to be talking to you. You're supposed to be talking to me. I said, look, I've had 5 others just like you, and I don't need another one.
He did.
And I was
right?
wrong. I want to start this conversation by saying I was wrong, people. I was wrong. I have never met anybody like her, and she has proven that every day of our life ever since. And she sold me marketing because I thought that's what I needed. And she taught me branding, which was really what I needed. And being a serial entrepreneur for 20 years before I met her, I was always that guy that said, well, I think we just throw money into marketing and it sticks and the phone will ring. And she taught me, no, if you build a brand, you actually can grow a business and you can track your ROI and you can get results. So now I just tell people the secret to my success is listening to her.
Always.
I'm just going to let Michael take the rest of the interview. This is awesome. It's working out in my favor.
This isn't being recorded, is it?
No, I love that. I mean, that's why I've been married 21 years because, husband listens sometimes.
I love it.
It's not easy to deal with me when I have squirrel brain and I jump to conversations. And my husband is an architect and an engineer in cybersecurity, so he likes every single conversation in detail. And so when I deviate from the conversation, he goes on a loop. And I'm like, I heard you. And he's like, no, you didn't, because you skip. And I'm like, oh, yes, I heard you. So then we start an argument about not hearing him and him in the loop. And then we're like, wait, what were we talking about again? He's like, wait, let me start again. Let me start what I just said. I'm like, no. You go back to work and then we'll talk later because it'll be an hour like that. So I'm glad. That is such a beautiful story. And I think it's definitely meant to be, right? For you guys to be here and doing amazing things and helping people. So let's go ahead and cut through the chase. And people, I love you. You're like, we can't hear you. All the messages is they can't hear me. I'm like, read lips, people, read lips. I love it. I wanted to get to know, like, when you're talking about branding and marketing, right? You mentioned a little bit about marketing. And last week, I actually defined what marketing, branding, and publicity is. I have clients that will say, CJ, I want to engage you and I'm going to have this expectations of outcomes that they're going to have 10 million clients if they have me. And I'm like, you know what publicity does, right? And they go, yeah, get clients. I was like, no, go back. Do you know what publicity means, right? Like, well, okay, CJ, I give up. What is it? And I'm like, I literally give you awareness. You know how back in the days they have a jester, a joker for the king and queen? I'm literally the bragger of your brand. That's what I am. I brag about you and get you aware because it doesn't matter how good you are or your brand is if no one knows you and you're in that little corner, right? Mm-hmm. My superpower
so true.
I have access to the platform so I can brag with you. But here's the problem. Yeah. Well, what's your brand about? What's your color scheme? What's your tagline? Huh? I'm like, oh, bro, we are in deep trouble. I can't even help you right now. And this is why you're here, guys, because I want to know unique value proposition is always thrown out there, right? Mm-hmm. But before you even understand that, how do you use branding to differentiate from one coach to the other coach?
Mm-hmm.
Great question.
It is a great question. And it is the first thing that you look at. So I look at differentiation as kind of like a formula. So first of all, you've got to know your ideal customers. Exactly who is it that you're trying to attract and talking to? If you don't know that, you don't know where to market. You don't know what to put in your marketing to try and attract them. So you've got to know who it is you're attracting. Second thing is we look at points of differentiation. Every human being, right? Every human being has multiple points of differentiation, not just one. So we look at that person and say, okay, based on who it is you're trying to attract and the things that set you apart, what are one or maybe a combination of two of those points of differentiation that would really help you to attract that person? And that's where the bridge is built. Okay. So, but you have to be careful with it, because if you say, this is what sets me apart, and it's not important or meaningful to the ideal customer, then it's not, you're going to build a bridge to nowhere, right? So what we look at is, what is it that makes you unique in your space? What things make you different that also appeal to the people that you're trying to attract and align with exactly how you're going to help them? And that is really where the whole point of differentiation comes out. And that's what we call positioning you uniquely in your space.
That's a lot, because a lot of my clients, I don't know if you get this, but when they say, yeah, this is me, and they give you the whole amazing things that they've done, but then when you ask them, who is your ideal customer? Everyone. Huh? Like, that's what I said,
Anybody
Every
a little
day
high?
we hear that.
right? And I was like, so a 13-year-old could buy your service right now? Really? And they're like, well, okay, maybe not everyone. So they back down, right? And they're like,
Yeah.
okay, so maybe like 45 to 54. Great, we're going somewhere. Now, what's your profile for your customer? Huh? Okay, who can afford your service? Like, literally, like, who is your target market, right? And they're like, wait, this is deep conversation. I'm like, bro, we are definitely broken. We cannot, I can't put my Level Up Academy brand on an amazing person, which is sad because it's really amazing and I want to help them, when they don't have their brand straight, right? So what is the first thing you tell your client when you have this client like doing amazing things, they're already kind of selling, but then they like, I want to take it and I want to level up, I need publicity, I'm so excited, I'm like, yes. And then I ask them this question, they're like, exactly what I did from you guys at the beginning, right? Read lips. Now I'm
Yeah.
reading brain. I'm like, what are you trying to say? I'm not understanding where your branding is. So brand, it can make or break your business. Do you guys believe this?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Without question. And here's one way that you can tell if your brand's dialed in, CJ, and I think you'll appreciate this because it does relate specifically to what you do. So when people say, I want to be on your podcast, or I need more visibility, I want to be on lots of podcasts, lots of stages, I ask them one question. Okay, the last few times that you were on a podcast or on stage, how many people reached out to you and said, oh, I love what you talked about, I really have to do business with you? Most of the time, that's a big fat zero. They'll say nobody has done it. Sometimes you'll get, well, one or two, over the last 6 months to a year. And then I ask them, okay, maybe you're focusing on the wrong thing first. Why is it that you feel like you want more awareness and exposure for something that's not working for you right now? So let's get that dialed in and working first, attracting the right people, getting that call to action dialed in, getting them excited to work with you before they even meet you in person. And then once that's dialed in, we'll get the exposure. And so that is really one great question to ask to determine, is your brand headed in the right direction now? Because if it is, you're going to have people reach out to you after your appearances. And if it's not, then you've got a little bit of work to do before that exposure, because you're absolutely right. They can have the best brand in the world, but if nobody knows about it, that's great. And those two go in tandem.
Mm-hmm.
No one knows about it. It's me. I keep muting myself because I have 2 snoring bulldogs. That's the reason why I'm muting myself. I'm like, guys, be quiet. And I can't kick my dogs. I tried, okay? They open the doors. My German Shepherd knows how to open my door. And then the 2 bullies just come in. I'm like, see, I'm hearing it again. So when it comes to, branding, right? And I like the way you say it about podcasts. I've been podcasting now for 2 years. I can't believe I've been doing it for 2 years, actually. And the way I look at it, it's actually our end too as a podcaster, right? Because we look at it like, oh yeah, we're highlighting people. we have more jobs to do, guys, if you're doing podcasting. And I'm about to, I think I'm going to embark on a class actually for podcasters to also sell their podcast to their clients as a visibility thing, because that's what we're doing anyway, right? And then package it where you actually can make, not, you're not going to get super millionaire, okay, but at least pay for your time that you spent on highlighting other people, right? And this is what I've learned also on anthologies. I've been on 3 or 4 different anthologies. It's like you get so excited about the book, yay, marketing, we have a book, blah blah blah. As soon as the book is there in your hand, everyone disappears. Where's everybody? What are we doing? Right? There, it disappears. And some of them have like summits and things like that, but then the branding is not there. Right? Anthology is business, guys. It's still branding. So what I'm doing differently is I said, hey guys, we're in this anthology. Since I have a TV show, how about I will get you your chapter out there for the rest of the year? And that's how I differentiate my anthology for other 5 million anthologies out there. Because
That's
I have the
perfect.
platform. I'm going to brag about you because that's why you are in an anthology. You want to brag about your thing because this is your business, right? So that continuation. So my question to you in terms of branding is, how do you continue the customer's journey now that you have branding all in one? Like, what is the first question that you ask them? Okay, we're going to start in your image first, right? How do we start from that? Like, what are some of the top 3 to-do lists that a client should do for branding?
We use a formula. I learned it from Tanya, of course, right? And it's the 3D formula, right? Define, develop, and then display. Very simple, right? Keep it simple. And in the definition phase is where we're going to do a real deep dive with the client and find out who they are, where they came from, what caused them to get here, and then begin to ask those questions like you're talking about, like how can we dial into your ideal customer? Your, like you said, and it reminded me of what Tanya used to say. I said, I would ask people what their, what their ideal target range is, and they would say, 18 to 55. And she's like, that's not a target range. That's a family reunion. Like, and you can't speak to everybody in those generations, right? So let's get this thing pulled in. And then everybody goes, panics, I don't want to focus. I'm scared I'll miss out on something. You won't, I promise. And so in that definition phase is where we're really going to try to figure out where that target is so we can begin to develop what it is you're supposed to say to that ideal customer or maybe even a secondary customer.
Yeah. And then the next step beyond definition or define is develop. And that's where you come in and develop all the parts and pieces that allow you to communicate the brand. And it's really made up of 2 main areas. It's brand messaging and it's brand imagery. And the message is obviously your unique and compelling story. So elevator pitch, right thing, taglines, something we created a decade ago called sound bites, in this attention deficit world, people can't be bothered to read a 5-paragraph bio, but they can read a few bullet points, right? And they have to be super dialed in. We write the bios, the shortened bios. We do things like that in terms of getting that story out and being very articulate with it. And then we move over to the imagery. Now, what's funny about this is where a lot of people like to start. If you say, are you going to do a rebrand? They say, yeah, I already hired a logo designer, I hired a photographer, and I hired a web developer. And it's like, okay, but those people go at the end. Let me explain. Because if you're trying to design a logo, what does that logo need to portray? If you're having photos done, what image are you trying to portray in those photos? Are there any props needed? What should you be wearing? Like, all of those things really should align with the message, which has to be created first, because that's where the point of differentiation comes in and the message that's going to attract those customers. So we create all the parts and pieces, if you will. We call them branding elements inside of that development space. And then we move into display, which is the final.
And display obviously is everywhere. And you would think that it's intuitive to people to display everywhere. It's not, is it? Like, it's amazing. They're like, one social media platform will have this, and another social media platform will have this, and another social media platform will have this. And you can't do that. You have to literally infuse. You said it when you started a program. You are the brand if you're a forward-facing business owner. You have to put that everywhere. And you have to be, my favorite word, consistent about putting it everywhere.
Yeah.
That's when it begins to work.
Yeah.
And then that awareness, like you're a master at, but is just astronomical. And like you really get that return on your investment. Like you can literally track what we call an ecosystem, because you know what works and you know what doesn't work. And then you can attempt other things and you're like, okay, well, that worked. Let me put some more marketing dollars over there. And you can begin to trace these things. But it's funny. It's not intuitive to people. You say, you got to put this everywhere. And they're like, just here?
Yeah.
Like, no, everywhere.
Yeah. The same message and image everywhere. Yeah. If there's not, there's a disconnect.
CJ, where is everywhere? Okay, well, what do you want to see? And when people think everywhere, this is when I teach my students neuromarketing. Sometimes I teach doctoral students in neuromarketing because they want to do the psychology part of marketing. I said, first of all, you got to go into your own psychology before you go into your consumer's behavior. They already have research after research. Did you research yourself? Because you're not trying to research and get at other people's brand. You're researching yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Can you research yourself,
Yes.
right? And that's the thing is it's when you are an entrepreneur, you think you know everything about you when you don't. So the first thing I tell them with my clients, even I was like, you can throw money at me, but here's the thing. It's my brand too. If I just take your money and put you out there and there's nothing and crickets, my subscribers will unsubscribe me, like literally.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be careful on aligning myself on clients, even though they're so great, if they don't have their strategy straight. So that's when I said, okay, well, I need to make sure that you are doing this right first. And then it's a journey. It's not like, hello, click the button and you're there. It doesn't work like that. Like, and the same thing, social media. Okay, well, there's so many, right? So I'm everywhere. Really? You can keep up with all of that? You know what I mean? Like, do you have people like working for you? And, because what happens is if you're on all social media and you're not consistent on all your social media, people are like, oh, I'm on TikTok. I don't like this person. Word of mouth is still the number one where you get your business, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you with my life, word of mouth, right? And we're playing with numbers all the time. I don't want to see quantitative data. Really? You don't want to see how much you sell today?
Mm-hmm.
You do. You don't want to see your numbers because you got none. I get it. But we're going to get you there, right? No one wants to see number zero. Who wants to see number zero? But if I put $1 million in your pocket, I bet you want to see that numbers, right? And that's really where it is. But it's not overnight. You have to do A, B, C. The alphabet says A, G. No, it says A, B, C, D, E, right? So you can't skip sometimes that you want to leap because you want to do this. And everyone who's a coach out there, who is a mentor out there, you guys have to see your own uniqueness, right? Because everyone already has, I'm a mindset coach. Great. Go ahead and set my mind. I give you 30 seconds. And I love that you said that about elevator pitch, because I said, give me 30 seconds of your business. Well, I'm like, you lost me. Next, literally, right? And you're like, no, I need time. I need time. You had 40 years of this business. What time else do you need? You want to make money today? 30 seconds. Go. CJ, you're not TikTok. I know I'm not TikTok, but here's my quiz for you. If you can't describe to me your business and your value in 30 to 60 seconds, you don't know you.
Yep.
Very true.
That's
very true.
60 seconds of who I am. I'll tell you exactly who I am, what I want, and who my customers are. They're like, I need practice. I know. That's why I give you homework. Go practice. And that's why when my friends tell you, CJ's giving you homework, I said, I only give people homework if I like you. So you should be lucky I'm giving you homework.
I love it.
Right? Potential so you can go level up. If I don't give you homework, I don't like you. I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to spend time with you, right? Because homework means you have to get feedback. That means you got to take my time to give you feedback for free. I'm not even charging you. So do your homework, right? So when it comes to branding, what kind of homework do you guys tell your clients that's super popular that just keeps coming back? You're like, I don't understand why you don't understand this. What are some of those homeworks?
Well, the first thing is, I think the toughest part for a lot of people is the ideal customer stuff, because it constantly comes up. And it just happened again the other day. Somebody says, well, I know you said, hey, let's focus in on this, because when you really narrow down, I like to use a phrase that once you specialize, people see themselves as special to you, and that you were especially made to solve their problem. So once you figure out I'm in this zone here, the goal is for me to look at you and say, CJ, where have you been? Like, this is exactly what I've been looking for, and I can't find it anywhere else. Boom, right? It's done. So that really is the toughest part. And the client the other day said, I know you said focus on this space, but I feel like, I can help a lot of more people. And that prompted another quote we came up with a long time ago. Just because you can do something does not mean you should, right? So don't think just because you can help everybody that your brand should be focused on helping everybody. I mean, why not, right? It makes the big pool, it turns a little pond into a big giant ocean. But the problem is, in the ocean, you're one of many, many, many fish, and you're not special. Right. In a pond, you're very, very special. The big fish in a small pond, right? And it makes a huge difference. And you will make more money than you can ever spend if you get that dialed in. That's probably the number one mistake.
Yeah. And the other would be definitely the homework of, okay, are you putting it out everywhere that you're already showing up? Because that's it blows our mind. Like, because we stay in touch with our clients and stuff, and I can't tell you the times we have to call. All right, you put out that newsletter. Where's your brand? Oh, and I'm like, that's got to be first and foremost. You got to think that way. We give you all the tools to do it. Now use the tools.
Yeah, think about how many messages we're bombarded with every single day. But if we're, quote, bombarding people with the same message, they're not seeing it 50 times in a row. They might be seeing it 5 times throughout a week. And if that's consistent, we're doing the job that we're supposed to do with our brand, because repetition equals recall. And really, that's what we want, is that recall. We want them to feel like we were made just for them. We want them to remember us based on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you see me on the street, you will remember me. Because I'm loud. It's just who I am. Like, literally. I know that because when I go into networking and I ask people, I'm like, how'd you even remember me? They're like, you were loud in the net. I'm like, yeah, that's me. I met 5 people that I'm Filipino. Like, I'm just loud. That's who I am. It's because it's the energy I get. It's from people. I'm an extrovert to the max, right? And I told my daughter one time, I wanted to know, because she was talking about SWOT analysis. I teach my kids master's program even at 10 years old. And they're like, Mom, what is the SWOT analysis again? So I told her, right? And I said, my weakness is I am an introvert. I want to see if she hears. She's like, Mom, you cray. Who told you you're introvert?
No one would not describe that to you like that.
Yeah, and she was 10. She was 10. And she's like, Mom, no, you cray. Whoever told you that, she's not your friend. She's not your friend. And I said, no, I want to make sure that you know. Here's the thing. Most people also don't understand that introvert and extrovert has nothing to do with leadership. It's the energy people that you get to put other people. I said, listen, if you tell me that an introvert cannot be a magnitude leader, you haven't met my mom. She is an introvert. She has 5 assistants to do her job. And when she has a meeting, she has to take a nap before the meeting and after the meeting. It takes so much energy. But here's the deal. She worked for Chevron for 36 years. Any oil spill in the world, you cannot call anybody but my mother. Wow. I don't care who you are. You could be the president of Zimbabwe. Doesn't matter. You can't call nobody but my mother. She's an introvert, just to let you know. That's why I always use that example. I'm like, no, you can be an introvert. And she's bossy as frick, too. So, yes, right? It's in the genes, guys. It's not my fault. That's what I always tell them. It's in my DNA. It's not my fault. Brand and storytelling. I want to go there. How do you do branding and storytelling at the same time?
Yeah. Great question.
Good question. You'll start?
Yep, I'll start. Okay.
I like when she starts.
It has to be purposeful. Okay.
Yes.
Anything that you do, because in this space, in every space, there's a lot of creatives, right? And one thing that creatives have a problem with is is honing in on marketing, dialing in the marketing, right? Dialing in their brand, because they don't want to just do one thing, or they don't want to just be known for one thing. They want to be known for 18 or 20. And that's common. And that's the beautiful part of creatives, because they can do so much and they can impact so many areas. So really you have to be purposeful, and if you must look at branding as both a creative and a linear thought process. So we start that really by looking at 5 critical questions that every brand has to answer. And when you do those, it gives you the framework to then build the brand. So those questions are: exactly who do you serve? Exactly how do you serve them? What qualifies you to serve them? How does it make their life better? And what makes you different from everyone else who's also trying to serve that same customer? When you can definitively answer those questions, then you have the foundation for building a brand. And so that's really where the storytelling has to start, because we can tell stories all day long about ourselves, and we can hope that somebody likes us because we have very unique stories, and, we're just this awesome big personality, right? And they will like us for that, but they won't pay us for that. They're going to pay us for a very decisive brand that explains how we can help answer and solve a problem or a challenge that they're having.
Yeah. And to piggyback on that, the why they would want to do that business with you. We tell the stories about ourselves. So if we're going to build a bio, we've already defined who you are. And now we're going to go and we're going to build that bio, and we're going to give you sound bites and in a logo and a tagline and those things that are going to be forward facing and important to your ideal customer. You have to keep in mind that they're only interested in themselves, right? Their problem that they need to be able to fix. And that's why they're attracted to you. So the storytelling about what qualifies you to do that,
your own background,
exactly how you're going to do that. These things being linear, when people look you up, and they will before they do business with you, before they ever call you, before they ever text you or email you or get on your calendar, they're going to look you up. And if you can explain those things, and to me, the most important is, how is it going to make their life better or different, is the biggest answer to the question that they're going to ask. And if you can do that and dial that in, they'll just line up. You'll have business from now on. And your sales pitch is a whole lot easier, because now they know where they're coming from and why they're coming to you for that fix.
I love that. When you were saying that, so okay, back to our own story. The music that you heard when Mike was coming on, that's my eldest daughter. That's her song. She created that song. She has done the guitar. She was bullied in high school, and the only thing that saved her life is music. So we put her in music. We're like, you want Spotify? Sure. You want Apple? Sure. We just want to make sure that she feels comfortable of who she is, right? She's a smart girl. She's like 4.5 GPA, beautiful singer, and people get jealous and they put her down, but the brain doesn't function like that. They're just like, everyone hates me, right? So when you're looking at your brand, most of the time, you have everything amazing, but what really helps me, at least for me, and I pivoted a lot last year, is the 7 or 8 or 9 whys that I do. Let me explain.
Exactly.
When people ask you, what do you do? Great. Why? Oh, because I love my students and I love to help people. Why? I love to help people because I didn't have a mentor. Why? Right? It's annoying. My 2-year-old did that to me. Mama, why is this thing? Because, but why is this? To the point where I said, because I said so and I'm your mother and I gave birth to you. Now go play. Like, literally, that was my answer for everything. But now when you're an adult, that but why helps you really dig deep on who you are. Keep asking yourself, but why? Why do I do this? Okay, you have an answer. But why? But why? Until you can no longer answer the but why, then reflect on your notes. You're like, whoa, okay. Because now you're getting to know yourself. You think you know yourself, you don't.
Yeah.
I don't even know myself.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm asking but whys all the time. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm so confused. And then I ask Mike, or I ask Susanna, or Dr. New, I'm like, am I going crazy, guys? Like, is this in my head? And they're like, well, often it's in your head, but it does make sense when you already show it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay in my head for a little bit and see what I can do, right? But that questions about why, I say the but whys up to 9 times helps you really look at the target market. Even if you have your demographics, you have to say, okay, I have a demographics between 55 and 65 years old. But why?
Right.
Because they're my target market. Okay, but why? Be honest with yourself, right? Because they have the means. Great, but why? Well, because they have disposable income. Great. Now, why are they wanting to have you? Because I'm the great thing since slice of bread. Nice, but why? Right? I
Yeah,
mean, those
Yeah.
things are coming up. And then you're like, okay, well, how about this? But why? It's annoying. I
Yeah.
know. But it
Yeah.
helps. What
it
are your
does help.
thoughts?
Yeah, we like to say, look, it's hard for any of us to read the label when we're the ones inside the jar, right? You'd need somebody else to point that out for you because we have an idea of what it is our ideal customer needs, but do they, right? And those but whys will help you figure that out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually the very process that part of that process in the first session with a client is getting down to the why. And inevitably, their backstory will always tell you the why. But also inevitably, interestingly enough, they don't always connect the dots before that session. And they think, oh, okay, so that's really why. And I thought, okay, you came here thinking you knew your why, but after about 15 more whys, we finally figured out this is it, right? And so the process, you nailed it, CJ. That's exactly the process.
Yeah. When I also have a session of um, trying to level up someone and they're staying in their head and then they're getting upset, I'm like, first of all, you might not like me, but you're going to need me. Don't close that door. Right now, you hate me because you don't understand who I am. That's fine. But if you close that door, you're closing opportunities to know because each one of us is a layer of onions. We have different things. Like, I don't even tell on my profile on LinkedIn that I fly a drone or I do robotics or engineering. Do I? I don't. But that's something I'm passionate about. I love flying drones. And I love engineering and robots. I take them apart and put it back together. And then I'm like, oh, it doesn't work again. And my brain functions that way, right? And when I work, I literally have 5 different things going on because that's how my brain focuses. So when I talk to you, when you speak within that 5 minutes, I know exactly what your problem is, but I don't want to give it to you. So I want you to figure out why. Because if I give it to you, it doesn't mean nothing. You don't actually have it in your brain. And 95% of us are walking around, 95% of our brain is subconscious. So if I feed you things, it might stay there, it might not. But if you answer yourself of your own about why, you get to think why, right?
Yeah, great
So,
point.
Right.
oh my God, we're almost done. I love this conversation. We're going to have to come back here. What I want is the last thing, right? It's like more of an advice to people who are two niche that I want to hit today: the entrepreneur, like the solopreneur and the gigapreneur, and the people who are already in business but they want to scale, right, with their branding and their business and monetize it. Because I know you guys talk about monetization in your podcast as well.
Yeah.
What are some three elements of branding that you can provide for them?
Okay, to help either the solopreneurs or the more established ones who are trying to scale. Okay, I'll do two, you do one. How about that? Okay,
always
see,
like
I
that.
made it
See?
easier for him that way.
I love the three.
Okay. He says that every time we do three, she gets two and I get one. It's all good, right? So the first thing I would say is, when somebody asks me, why are you doing what you're doing? It literally goes back to my childhood. And I myself didn't realize this until a few years ago. I was raised among, as I mentioned before, my grandparents were in the moonshine industry, right? A lot of my family was. But I was raised with a lot of alcoholism and addiction all around me. By the grace of God, I managed to escape it, right? But you're raised in that type of environment. And I was always this, I was bossy like you, CJ, right? I was always bossy. And I was always the one that was super curious and asking a lot of questions. It's like, well, why do you do that if you know you're just going to end up here? I don't understand it. And I never could put the pieces together, right? And so fast forward years later, here we are with Brand Face. And I get to this point where it's like, okay, why am I really doing what I'm doing? Oh my gosh, it's because I've been saying this for several years now. Sometimes the only difference between a young person waiting on the next drug deal and one waiting on college to start with a bright future is one thing. It's self-worth. It's self-worth. And the quote we came up with years ago was, a great brand doesn't just change the way other people see you, it changes the way you see yourself. And so everything begins there. If you don't see yourself as the star that you truly are, you're not going to be able to shine that outward for everybody else to know it. And so number one, begin right there. And that doesn't matter whether you have been in business 20 years and you already have a massive business, you're just pivoting, or you're just getting started. Put the spotlight on yourself and let that star shine inside of you, because we all have that. And then the second one I'll make super, super quick. It is, understand that a brand, no matter what position you're in, is a lot more than a photo, a logo, and a tagline. It's a lot more than that. It is a full, comprehensive ecosystem. And when all the pieces are in place and consistent, then it will become profitable. And profitability is not a dirty word. And I'll leave that over to Michael. I'll hand it over to him.
The only one I add to it is to do it. I saw somebody put the other day, on the chat, done is better than perfect. Of course, right? Do it. Just do it. Stop. Get out of your way and just go and do it. The path will be lightened as you walk, right? And so you need to do that, and then surround yourself with the people that are going to help you. Because they are. I told this story on a podcast the other day, and I'd like to say it. I got it from a TV show in the 90s, right? So the guy's stuck in a hole. Okay, he can't get out. He's falling down in his hole. And he's yelling, "Somebody help me! I'm stuck in this hole. I'm stuck in this hole. I'm stuck in this hole." And a priest happens to walk up, and he says, "What do you need?" And he says, "I'm stuck in this hole. I've tried to get out. I can't get out." And the priest writes him a prayer and drops it down in there. Well, he sees the piece of paper, but he can't read it. He doesn't understand. Like, what am I going to do with this? I don't know. I'm still stuck in this hole. So he goes back yelling, "I'm stuck in this hole. I'm stuck in this hole. Somebody help me." And a psychiatrist comes up, says, "What do you need?" And he says, "I need out of this hole. Can you help me?" And he writes him a prescription. He drops it down in there. And so again, he's got a piece of paper. He can't read it. He's like, "What am I going to do with this? I just need out of this hole." And he's yelling again, "Somebody help me out of this hole." And his friend walks up and he says, "What do you need?" And he goes, "I need out of the hole." And all of a sudden he feels the friend jump down in there with him. And he's like panics. He's like, "What are you doing, man? I just told you I'm stuck in this hole for this time and I can't get out." And his friend puts his hands on his shoulders and said, "Calm down. I've been here before and I know the way out." That's what all of these professionals like Dr. Constance, like Brandface, want to do for you solo entrepreneurs and you gigapreneurs and those that want to pivot. You will want to get to somewhere you can't see it. Find the right trustworthy person and they will help you. That's what we're here for.
Or I could scream. I'm pretty loud.
If you could get
right now, okay? I'm 5 feet tall. You can't jump this little high here. Like, I literally would tell you.
But not everybody's as bossy and loud as we are, CJ.
Yeah, I was like, no, no, this is not working for me. But that is so funny. I love that, and you're right. A lot of people, that's like doctors, right? They prescribe you for things that they have it on their to-do list, and then you get more issues from the medicine that you just took. I've been in that hole. But I had to get out of my hole. I'm not lucky enough to have a mentor, so I'm glad that you guys here are mentoring me. So thank you so much for your time today. It is time to know who win our free featured on our magazine. Are you guys ready? Let's see who's been active here. Ooh. And then you guys got to contact me because I don't have a pen. Sinto, good job. Congratulations. If you are not connected with me on the intranet, interweb, whatever you want to call it, okay, go ahead and DM me and I will put you on to our brother Hulu, who's, where am I? This way. I'm like, that one I'm putting him in charge for my certain things that's happening on Level Up. We have so much going on today. I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for your time today. I appreciate you. Hold on for me on the green room and I'll be right there.
Thank you. We adore you.
Guys, that was so amazing. Wasn't it amazing? I was like, oh my God. I'm so glad that they came in here, and I'm so glad that everyone is here. I want you guys to know that I love you, and I'll see you next week, same time, same channel. I have shows on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Bye, everybody.